What if the universe was not chaos, but a song? Not a random explosion of matter, but a sacred equation, whispered by gods and decoded by one man, Pythagoras. He called it the Tetractys, the number that contains all creation. 4 levels, 10 points, a divine pattern that builds both the soul and the cosmos. The ancient hymn says, I speak of the world, whose parts are 4, held by 4 pillars. The ancients called it the geometry of God. 4 columns uphold the entire universe: earth, water, air, and fire. Each one a gate to the higher order beyond. But this is not science. It is initiation. Pythagoras swore his disciples to silence with a single, sacred oath, the oath to the Tetractys, the most powerful formula in the ancient world. They swore never to reveal the secret of how the visible and invisible worlds connect. For that bridge, they said, is the Tetractys itself. It was the symbol of completion, the foundation of the physical and the key to the divine, a shape so sacred that speaking its meaning was considered dangerous. 4, the number of stability and form. 10, the number of totality and divine law. Together they create the perfect harmony of the cosmos. The number 4 contains within itself the hidden forces that complete the structure of the universe. Each pillar sustains the house of the world, and each level corresponds to a divine realm. The physical, the psychic, the noetic, and the divine. Within this mystery, the lower reflects the higher. The microcosm mirrors the macrocosm. The smallest atom contains the same law that moves the stars. The Pythagoreans taught that every human soul carries the same structure. To know the Tetractys was to know yourself, to recognize that your body, your mind, and your spirit follow the same divine proportions as the cosmos itself. They called this the law of return, the upward movement of the soul through the 4 worlds rising from matter toward the eternal fire. The hymn describes this motion as the unfolding of divine energy, a rhythm that draws the soul upward from the density of the elements toward the unseeable world of mind. And when the initiate swore the sacred oath, he accepted that movement as destiny. His task was no longer to serve the senses, but to climb the invisible ladder of the fourfold cosmos. The upward motion of law carries the dense elements of the visible world toward the unseen, until matter itself becomes luminous. To ascend through the Tetractys is to awaken from the illusion of separation, to remember that the divine fire burns not above you, but within you. The oath of Pythagoras was not superstition, it was remembrance, a call to restore harmony between the seen and unseen worlds, between the chaos of men and the order of the gods. And so the initiate began the anagogue, the ascent. Through knowledge, discipline, and silence, he aligned his mind with the structure of the divine. The Tetractys became his map of return, the path from the visible to the eternal. The right recognition of this knowledge raises man from the depths of unconscious matter toward the summit of divine consciousness. 4 steps of creation, 4 pillars of being, 4 breaths that sustain both cosmos and soul. They called them the body, the sensation, the soul, and the mind, each one a vessel of the fire that builds the world. The highest is the noetic, the divine mind itself, the source from which the universe flows and to which all returns. When Pythagoras spoke of this ascent, he was not describing the heavens. He was describing the awakening of consciousness, from the earth to the water, from the water to the air, from the air to the fire, and from the fire to the eternal. That, he said, is the sacred motion of existence, the cycle through which all life, all thought, all gods themselves are born, consumed, and reborn again. This is the Tetractys, the hidden law that holds the stars in orbit and the soul in order. And those who understand it rule both. Imagine the cosmos not as empty space, but as a living hierarchy, a ladder of fire, water, air, and earth. This, said the Pythagoreans, is the structure of all existence. Every movement in the universe is a reflection of that sacred order. The number 4 is not an arithmetic symbol. It is the skeleton of reality, the frame that holds both heaven and man in balance. It is the number of manifestation, the law by which the infinite becomes visible. The ancient hymn declares earth, water, air, and fire. These are the four pillars of the world. Each element is not only matter, it is consciousness in a different form. Each level corresponds to a realm of being within us. The body, earth, is the vessel. The emotions, water, are the tides that move it. The intellect, air, is the field through which thought travels. And the spirit, fire, is the light that animates all things. And all that is born of them carries their rhythm and law. But Pythagoras went further. He taught that each of these levels has its mirror in the unseen world. There is a physical element, and above it, a psychic one, an invisible pattern that guides its motion. Just as the world is built upon four foundations, so the human soul is built upon four interior powers. When these are aligned, man becomes a reflection of the cosmos. When they are divided, he falls into chaos. The initiate's goal was to restore the harmony between them, to rise from the lower to the higher, from density to light. The philosopher writes, the ascent begins in the body, moves through sensation, passes into the soul, and culminates in the noetic fire, the divine mind. That is the true meaning of the word anagogue, the sacred rising of consciousness through the planes of existence. At the lowest level, the human being lives as matter, bound by weight, time, and instinct. But as awareness sharpens, the soul begins to recognize its origin beyond form. It moves upward, shedding its heaviness until thought becomes flame and the self becomes pure light. This describes this motion as a journey through the four elemental spheres, from earth, the body, to water, the emotional vessel, from water to air, the mental field, from air to fire, the divine consciousness. Beyond fire lies the invisible, the unspoken source, the place where the soul merges with the eternal current of the cosmos. The philosopher writes, the movement of anagogue is the rising of the visible toward the invisible, of the body toward the soul, and of the soul toward the immortal mind. Every soul, said the Pythagoreans, is a reflection of this cosmic motion. Every human life repeats the same pattern. Birth from matter, awakening through emotion, illumination through mind, and return through spirit. To know the Tetractys is to understand that you are not separate from the order of the universe. You are the order. The same fire that moves the sun burns in your thought. The same water that surrounds the earth flows in your emotion. The same air that fills the heavens breathes through your spirit. Pythagoras taught that to ascend through these levels is to become divine. For divinity is not granted, it is remembered. When the elements within you align, you rediscover the symmetry of the gods. The initiate's discipline was therefore not worship, but geometry, the sacred architecture of being. Every ritual, every law, every meditation was built upon the geometry of the fourfold world. When the soul finally completes the ascent, when the four elements within are purified and harmonized, the initiate enters the realm of pure fire, the eternal field of thought that the ancients called nous, the divine mind. There the opposites cease. There, the circle closes. The lower and higher unit and the soul becomes one with the law that governs the stars. The anagogue is the upward journey of matter toward meaning, the return of the soul to its original fire. The Tetractys is not a theory. It is a map, the secret diagram of your own awakening. It is the shape of the gods. And the moment you recognize it within yourself, you become what the ancients called immortal in consciousness. You were never meant to crawl through life as dust. You were built from the same pattern that holds the stars in orbit. The same law that balances the cosmos lives inside your breath. Pythagoras called it the Tetractys, the hidden code of creation. 4 levels, 4 elements, 4 steps back to the origin. Earth, your body; water, your emotion; air, your thought; fire, your consciousness. Each one calls you upward, each one demands purification. And when they align, you no longer belong to the realm of chance. You become a reflection of divine law. The ancients said that to ascend through these 4 realms is to walk the same path the gods themselves once walked. It is to rise from form into formlessness, from confusion into clarity, from mortality into the eternal. The Tetractys is not a symbol of worship. It is the reminder of who you are before the world told you to forget. You are the architecture of fire and light, the living equation of the divine mind, and every act of awareness. Every time you see through illusion, every time you choose truth over comfort, you move one step higher through the sacred geometry of existence. The Pythagoreans swore an oath of silence to protect this knowledge. You don't have to. You were born to live it. So rise through your own Tetractys. Let the body serve the soul. Let the mind become flame. And when you finally reach the fire, remember this. The gods did not build the universe above you. They built it within you.